So today we're going to start with actually what constructors, and then after that static initialization block and non-static initialization block. So yesterday we started with actually what the functions, and then we have seen actually what function with arguments, and then function with actually return types. All those things we saw. Okay, so method overriding, all those concepts. Today we are going to start with actually what constructors and then static initialization block. That's what we're going to start. So first, let me create a class. So let me create it. So let me create a new class. Right, new a class. So first, let me talk about constructor usage. Just wait, let me name it. Okay, so we know how to create a function. Functions are also called as methods. So how we create a function? So simple. Functions are of two types. One is static, another one is non-static. So always a function will have a return type called void or integer or a double or a boolean, whatever it is. Then after that we have my function name. So I'll just give it as method 1. Then we open and close the parentheses here. Then I'm going to print as of now method 1. That's it. Clear? So now if I want to call this method, so what I need to do, so what's my class name? Constructor usage. So if I want to call this, everyone, you guys are, is my voice is clear? Is my background noise is more or something? Can everyone ping me in the chat window? Is my background noise is more or something? So it's okay. It's tolerable. Can everyone ping me in the chat window? Oops, it's not that much disturbing you, right? Good. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let me start. So we have a static or a non-static type of a function. So always a function will have a return type, and then that's my method name. So method 1. And if you want, we can pass the arguments here. Okay, so now I'm going to print it. So if I want to call a function, what I need to do, if it's a static function, I need to call it with the help of a class name. So constructor usage dot, then my method name, method 1. So then after that, let me print it, program ends. Then right click, run as Java application. So it prints me first program starts, then after that constructor usage dot method 1. Now what will happen? So with reference of a class we call method 1. This will go and call me this method, prints me method 1 here. Then after that comes here program ends. So now it prints program ends. That's it. Okay. So if I want to pass an argument or something, if I have integer a, so now what I need to do, I need to pass an integer value. That's it. In case if it is actually instead of void, it is, and for example, let me say string return type. What we need to do, I need to return a string value. Hi. That's it. So this is how actually what we used to have a function. When we are going to return, when it's going to return a value high, if I want, I can capture it in a variable. So the return type is what? It's a string. So I need to capture it. String a is equal to. Then after that, if I want, I can print the value. Scissor a. That's it. Then right click, run as Java application. Now it prints me program starts method 1. Then after executing the method, the return value which is high, I'm trying to print it over there in the a variable. Then after that, I'm going to print that system.out.println a. So that is why we get high. And finally program ends. That's it. This is how it works. Clear for everyone? Anyone has any questions on this? Clear for everyone? So now we'll see how to work on with a constructor. So functions actually what as a return type, all those things, right? So constructor level, we don't have any return types. So how it works means, so constructor name always will be my class name. See, constructor usage. That's it. So there is no return type or anything. Okay. So always my constructor name is my class name. Scissor program starts. Then after that, okay, as like actually what method overloading, we also have constructor overloading concept here. So what is the constructor overloading concept means? So simple. That is here. Right now I have this constructor. I'll have another constructor. So here I will pass. Okay. See, it's throwing me an error. Why? It's a duplicate right now. So if I want to defer it, as like functions, we have also need to differ it by with the help of actually what? An argument. That is based on the number of arguments or based on the type of arguments, we differ a constructor. Same as like our functions we have, right? Same as like that only. This also works. Okay. Then after that, I'll have one more. So integer comma double B. So here I'm gonna print a constructor which does not have any argument will be called as a default constructor. A constructor which has an argument will be called as a integer constructor. Integer and double constructor. Plus A, plus A, B. That's it. Okay. So now if I want to call this constructor, what I need to do? So simple. So constructors always will be called based on creating an object. Whenever I want to call a constructor, I need to create an object. That is, what are the steps that we need to have it in a constructor? Means when we have actually some set of statements that need to be executed whenever I create an object. Okay, so those things we need to have it under a constructor. That is, whenever I create an object, so now I need to actually what? So whenever I create an object, then I want to execute some set of lines, we need to put it over there under a constructor. Okay, so that's all. Then here, sorry, we cannot call those constructors n number of times. Okay, each and every time when we need to execute those lines, we need to create the object for sure. Then only I can actually what? Call the constructor. Okay, there is no option apart from that actually what to call a constructor. Always we need to create an object and then after that actually what we need to execute those lines. So how simple? Constructor usage obj1 is equal to new constructor usage. That's it. Clear? So first we create an object. So this is the object name. This is my reference here. So whenever we create an object, what will happen? That specific matching constructor will be called. So now I'm not passing any argument. So the default constructor will be executed for me. If I pass an integer value, 10. Now what will happen? It will match this integer constructor. If I pass 10 comma 20.30 35 or something, now what will happen? Integer and then double. So integer and double argument constructor will be matched for me. That is based on my argument, that specific constructor will be executed for me. So right click, run as Java application. See, program starts. Then after that, 10, 20.35 we're giving when we're creating an object. So that's why integer and double constructor A is 10, B is 20.35 has been printed for me. Then finally program ends. That's it. Clear? So when in real-time world, when we use constructor, okay, so simple. So in the framework level when we come, okay, when we need to use the constructor means, so now whenever I'm going to execute my framework, so first information I need to know, where is my test data sheet is present, where is my Excel sheets are located, where is my properties files, okay, like all the files that are related for my execution, those things we need to capture the location. That is what mandatory for me. So those informations we will keep it over there under the constructor because mandatory needed information. Then after that, for me creating actually what a browser, okay, that is also actually what mandatory for me to use. So those things also we can have it under constructor. That is which are all information that are needed for me during actually what a creation of an object. So we will have it. Then what will happen? Those informations will be called. Then after that actually what it goes on. Okay, so we constructor level actually what I told only one time execution. So usually we create an object for that class actually what only once, right? So whenever we create an object, I need some set of statements that need to be executed. Always we have it under the constructor. That's it. Clear? So anyone has any questions on this?
Murli?
Yeah, yes, tell me.
Why we are using their object? Because we are not using that non-static, no? Then
Sorry, we are not using anything. No, that's what I'm saying, right? So, right now, whenever we create an object, what is going to happen is always a memory space is being allocated for you for a default constructor. If you are not writing anything, okay, always actually what an empty constructor will be written by the JVM by default. Okay, always there will be actually what a memory space will be allocated for you. So now what we are doing means we are going to, so when we have it in some lines of code in a method, so we used to call them separately with help of actually what the class name, or after creating the object we will call that method explicitly. That time actually what it's going to create a memory for the method, then it's going to actually what execute those set of lines, correct? But right now what we are doing is anyway whenever I'm creating an object, for sure we know that actually what there are some set of lines will be executed for sure, correct? So trying to utilize actually what the same memory for performance related information. That is why we need to waste the memory which is being created by default. So in order that actually what we are going to utilize it.
okay.
Clear?
Yeah. And one basic question
Yes,
I have
yes.
to ask: what is the role of constructor in Java?
Uh, the role of constructor is what means whenever I'm going to create an object, I need some set of lines need to be executed for me by default. So those things actually what we should have it under a constructor. That's the thing. Method means what will happen when we have some set of lines that will be executed multiple times in my execution. So those things we can have it under a method. But constructor thing is actually what only once actually what will be executed. Whenever I create an object, I need some set of lines to be executed. Because for me actually what the location of my files, all those things, I need only once. I don't need multiple times actually what in my framework execution. So that's why those things actually what we keep it under the constructor. Once we get it, we utilize it. and then use all over the program.
Yeah, fine.
Clear, right?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Good, thank you. Anyone has any questions, guys? Anyone has any questions on this understanding constructor? Cool. So constructors, I already told you, it does not have a return type. So here information is what means based on the arguments it works. Okay. So as like method overloading, we also have constructor overloading here. That's the thing. Okay. As like method overloading, we also have here constructor overloading. Okay. That's the one thing. Understood? So now we have seen about actually what? The constructor overloading. So next we will see about the usage of static and then non-static initiation block. Then after that we will see about the memory allocation concept, all those steps. Okay. So can I go to the next step? So which is static initiation block and then non-static initiation block. Okay, good. So let me go. So now, what is the static initiation block, non-static initiation block? That is, we don't use these static and the non-static initiation block during our execution in the in Selenium. Okay, this is just for an understanding only. It might be useful for your interview level, but we don't use it in our Selenium. So how this works with? So simple. So here, whenever we open and then close with a flower brace, we call them as a block. Okay, so when we have a keyword called static, okay, when we have a keyword called static, that is called as a static initiation block. Okay, whenever we don't have a keyword called static, it's called as a non-static initiation block. That's it. Okay, so static initiation block and then non-static initiation block. So we can have multiple static blocks or multiple non-static blocks here. So let me have, so SIB1 I will print. I can have actually what multiple static blocks for me here. SIB1, SIB2, SIB3. Then I'll just give so program starts. Program ends. See, now let me execute it. When I execute, you can see always I told actually what your main function used to execute first, correct? But when we have a static blocks, always the static blocks will take the first preference. So static blocks will be executed first, then only your main function will be executed. That's the thing. Clear? Static blocks will be executed first, then your main function will be executed. So always static blocks will be executed in a sequential order. So as like that, whenever we don't have a keyword called static, this is called as a non-static block. So non-static blocks actually what how that will be executed means. So name itself says actually what it's a non-static block. So that means whenever we create an object for this class, that time all the non-static blocks will be executed for me. But how it's going to be differed from the constructor, we will see that one later. So I'm going to create an object. So now right click, run as Java application. See, SIB 1, 2, 3, then my main function static is good. When we create the object, what happened? IIB1, IIB2, IIB3. Then after that again I'll print system back to main. Then again I will create another object. Make as obj2. So right click, run as Java application. Can you see? SIB1, 2, 3, program starts. IIB1, 2, 3, back to main function. Then IIB1, 2, 3 programs. That is, every time whenever I create an object, mandatorily actually, but those non-static blocks will be executed for me. That's fine. Okay. Each and every time whenever I create an object, those non-static blocks will be executed for us. Static blocks always will be executed actually what? Only once in the entire program. Okay. So here the thing is actually what? So static blocks actually what? Will be executed only once in the entire program. So static blocks always have a single copy. Okay, static members always have a single copy. Non-static members will have multiple copies here. That's the thing. Clear? So that's why actually what? Static blocks actually what? Executed only once. Non-static members actually what? So non-static blocks will be executed multiple times whenever we create an object. Clear? Any questions? Any questions for anyone? Any questions for anyone on this case? Okay, so now we'll see the difference between the non-static block and then the constructor. So constructors also I told actually what? That will be executed actually what? Whenever we create the object. But what is the difference? So Jyoti, we are not creating object for the static blocks. We are creating object for the non-static blocks. Because static blocks without creating an object only will be executed. Okay, see, I'll move these lines here. So static blocks actually what will be executed without creating an object. Only non-static blocks actually what will be executed when we create an object. Okay. But constructors also will be executed whenever we create an object. Non-static blocks also will be executed whenever we create an object. Correct? But what is the difference? We'll see. I will have some constructors here. So SIB program, sorry, default constructor. Integer. So the difference between actually what? The constructor and then the non-static blocks is what means. See, now when I execute, you can see here the difference. So SIB 1, 2, 3, program starts, then IIB 1, 2, 3, then my default constructor, then come back to the main, IIB 1, 2, 3, then the default constructor. That is, non-static blocks are being executed for you before executing the constructor. Then, now I'm going to pass an argument called 10. Okay, now let me execute it. Now you can see SIB 1, 2, 3, program starts, IIB 1, 2, 3, default constructor, because here I am not passing any argument here. Same thing, come back to the main. Now again I'm going to create another object. So here I'm passing actually what? 10. So now if you see IIB 1, 2, 3, integer argument constructor 10. So now what happens? All the non-static blocks have been executed in a sequential order, but the constructors, if you see, the argument which is matching is what being executed. That is, the constructor which matches the argument will be executed for us. That's what will happen. Clear? Any questions for anyone on this? Anyone has any questions on this? That is, constructors, what will happen means matching constructors will be executed, but any type of object creation, my non-static blocks will be executed 1, 2, 3 like that. That's the difference. Clear? Clear guys? Anyone has any questions so far? Everyone understood how a constructor to be written, and then what is the difference? What is a constructor, a default constructor, and then a constructor overloading? Then when static blocks will be executed, when non-static blocks will be executed. Okay, static blocks, non-static blocks, you can have multiple. Everything will be executed in a sequential order. Whenever we create an object, non-static blocks will be executed first, then only my constructors will be executed. My constructors, what will happen means the matching constructors always will be executed for us. But non-static blocks always will be executed first, then the matching constructor. Static blocks always have a single copy. So always first for us actually what? Static blocks will be executed, then only actually what? My main function start to execute. That's it. Yeah. Understood? Can everyone ping me in the chat windows? Yes, if you have understood this concept, whatever I told you as of now. Can everyone ping me in the chat windows? Yes, if you have understood this concept. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Everyone clear, guys? I did not get a reply from most of them. Cool. That's good. Super. Good, guys. So now we'll see actually what about the memory allocation concept also for this. So I'll just give a 5 minutes break for you. So you just don't want to continue with the full fledged. So I'll just give a 5 minutes break. So again by 8:10 we will again connect. A 7 minutes break we will take. Then after that we will talk about actually what when we execute this program, how memory allocation is going to be done. That's it. Okay, that's what we're gonna see. Okay, so we'll have a break for till 8:10. Then again we will connect. Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys. Hello. Hey, hi guys. So we'll continue the session. So let me execute this program. So we'll see how it works. Okay. So when we execute this program, so what will happen for me? First, a memory allocation will be done for me. So the memory location name will be actually what? My class name with some hexadecimal number, SIB underscore IIB with some hexadecimal number. The first memory which will be created will be what? My static pool. Static pool is the first memory which will be created for me here. Then all the static members will be loaded. So what are the static members we have? One, my static block. One, two, three. So these three things gets loaded for me. Then after that, my class that gets loaded. Then also my main function that gets loaded. Public static void main all gets loaded for me. So as I told you always, the first memory which will be created will be my static blocks. So the static blocks actually what gets created for me one by one. So first the static blocks. So that is my first static block. So the local memory for SIB1. Okay, I'll just create it like this. So then after that, next my static blocks gets executed SIB1. Then next actually after execution, what will happen? My memory gets deleted. Then again a local memory for SIB2 will be created. So that is for the next static block. 2. SIB2 is created. Then next actually what? SIB2 will be printed for me. Then next memory gets deleted. Then next local memory for SIB3. Then next SIB3 is printed. Then finally my memory gets deleted for me. Clear? Then next actually what will happen? All my static blocks are being executed. Then after that my main function starts to execute. Now a local memory for main is created. Local memory for main is created. Then next my main function starts to execute. That is prints me program starts. Then next what will happen? Creates an object for me. So SIB underscore IIB obj1 equal to new SIB underscore IIB. So now what happened? Whenever an object is being created, so what happened? All the global members gets loaded to the object. So first, all the global members gets loaded to the object. So what is the object name? It is obj1. Okay. Then after that, all the global members. So all the static members will be taken from here, but these static blocks will not be loaded there. But my main function will get loaded. Apart from that, do we have any static methods here? No, we don't have anything over here. Then after that, actually what? My matching constructor. So now do I pass any argument over here? No. So the matching constructor is SIB underscore IIB. That alone gets loaded for me here. Only that constructor alone gets loaded. Now next, what will happen? All my non-static blocks also gets loaded. There are totally 3 non-static blocks. So totally all the 3 non-static blocks. So that is IIB 1, IIB 2, IIB 3. So these 3 non-static blocks gets loaded for me here. Then next, what will happen? My non-static blocks gets executed first. So now actually what? A local memory for IIB1 will be created. Then IIB1 will be printed for me. Then after my execution, the memory is deleted. Then next actually what? Local memory for IIB2. Then next IIB2 will be executed. Then next the memory is also deleted. Local memory for IIB3. Then next IIB3 will be printed. Memory gets deleted. Then next actually what? Come back to the main function. So once actually what? Also once all my actually what non-static blocks executed, then my constructor, matching constructor gets executed. So my matching constructor gets executed. So for that, it is SIB IIB creates an memory for that. Then default constructor will be printed. That's it. Then next actually what? After executing that, now what happened actually what? Again control comes over here, prints me back to main. Then next creates another object SIB IIB obj2 equal to new SIB IIB of 10. That is I'm passing an integer value. So I'm creating another object over here. So this object from where it has been created from the main, from this main. Then after that creates another object here. So which is obj2. So created from here. Now again, all those informations. So for me, any static blocks here, which is my main function. My main function, which is taken from this static pool. So always main functions will be taken from, all the static members will be taken from there. So main function gets loaded. Then after that actually what? All my 3 non-static blocks will be loaded, and then my matching constructor. Right now I'm passing actually what? A value called 10. So SIB int of A. Then along with that, my 3 non-static blocks, I'll just copy from here. those all gets loaded for me here. Clear? So then after, so let me delete this one before itself, because these all we executed it, right? That's fine. Then after that, the remaining stuff. Sorry. So now, next actually what? This information. So all my non-static blocks gets executed for me. So I will just copy paste the same thing because it's going to do the same information. So all the three non-static blocks will be executed one by one, and then the memory gets deleted. So it brings me actually what? IIB1, IIB2, IIB3. Clear? Then next actually what will happen? So all the non-static blocks are executed. It deletes the memory. Now my matching constructor. So what is that? SIB of int of A. So it creates a memory for that. So it comes, it loads SIB, IIB, int of A. So now what will happen? It creates a memory for it. A local variable will be created under that constructor memory is equal to. Then what is my A value I'm passing over here? It's 10. So 10 will be loaded into it. Then next actually what? It prints me integer argument constructor. Then after that actually what is my A value? So what is my A value right now here? That is 10. So 10 will be printed for me here. That's it. Integer argument constructor 10. Then after that it deletes the memory. Clear? So then after that actually what comes out of my, comes to my main function and then prints me program ends. Now next comes out of the entire main function, deletes the memory which is given for the main. Once the main memory is deleted, memory created for the object also gets deleted. Then when it comes out of the entire program, static pool, and then the entire memory also will be deleted. By whom? By the garbage collector. That's what it's going to happen. Clear? Anyone has any questions on how the execution is being done and then how the memory allocation is done? Anyone has any questions, guys? Everyone is clear on this part? Everyone is clear on this part, guys? Okay, so cool. So now I'm going to give you actually what an assignment for you guys. So the assignment is actually what you all know right now actually what, how to create a method, how to create a constructor, how to create actually what a static initialization block, non-static initialization block, all those things. That's it, Kirti. We have done with it. I'm just going to give the assignment. This is the last part. Okay, that's it. Just last 5 minutes. That's it. So I want you guys to do this program. So what is this one means? So right now for me, here write a program with a method name as sample. Okay, write a program with method name as sample. So which is a default method. Then after that actually the same method name which accepts integer argument with the return type as void. What is the method name? Still it's sample only, because the same method with default method accepts integer argument and then void return type, accepts integer and double argument with return type as double, accepts double and integer argument with return type boolean, accepts string and string argument with return type boolean string. Then call those methods from the main function and capture the return values in a variable, and then finally print the values. Okay, that's what we're going to do here. Next, write a program which is having a static variable and then a non-static variable, one static method and then one non-static method, and one constructor which is a default constructor, another one is a overloaded constructor. It can be integer a or w, whatever is what you can give. Two static blocks, two non-static blocks. Then utilize all the members by printing the variables in all over the places. That means the two variables which you have created, right? One static and non-static variable. So I want you to utilize all those variables in every method here. Okay, static method, non-static method, constructors everywhere. I just want you to utilize it. Print the values of those methods in everywhere. In the static method, non-static method. In the constructor, default and overall, both the places printed. And also actually what? Two static blocks and then two non-static blocks also. There also utilize it. So how to do all those things? You have to look on it. Clear? This is a little bit a bigger program. Okay, but try it. You'll get some idea. And also the another one more method also. Okay, I'm gonna give. This is what the assignments for today. Clear? Anyone has any questions for you? Anyone has any questions, please? On assignments or anything? Any questions for anyone? Okay, cool. So that's it for today. So if anyone has any questions or something, please let me know anytime. Okay, I can help you. Anything? Okay, yes. Thank you. Thanks, Julie. Thank you. Bye, Kushbu. See you. Bye, guys. For everyone. Thank you. See you tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. Sorry, 7:30 p.m. tomorrow evening. Thank you. Bye bye.